Welcome to Motivation for Success. Hoping you enjoy this video.
Now we could talk of the wealth of experience, the wealth of friends, the wealth of love, the wealth of family, the wealth of culture, wealth of many kinds. However, in this program, we are more specifically going to talk about wealth in the sense of financial freedom. Wealth that comes from the conversion of effort and enterprise into currency and equity. For each of us, the amount of money required to be wealthy will differ, but the dream for all of us, I'm sure, is the same. Freedom from financial pressure, more freedom of choice, freedom to enjoy, and the opportunity to create and to share. Wealth, the possession of great financial resources that improves the quality of your life and gives you added dignity and expanded lifestyle. So decide for yourself what wealth means to you. Latch on to your own mental image of wealth, and let's see if the ideas I'm about to bring to you will make sense, and perhaps provide you with the inspiration to put the plan into high action, so that as the days pass, you will discover a growing sense of freedom and dignity, self-worth, substance, and lifestyle.
Knowledge equals execution and speed. I don't run 24-hour days. I don't even think that way. Does that help you? Yes or no? It's a total difference. Next thing you need to do, you need to stop negotiating the price tags in your life. Here's the fact. I'm gonna give you the facts, okay? The fact of the matter is that when I was struggling, I was constantly negotiating whether it was worth it. Is it worth it? I'm away from my family. Worth costing me money. I had to come to this seminar. Is it when you're negotiating the price you're paying all the time? Does that sound familiar to you? Yes or no? Or the people around you are negotiating the price you're paying all the time. When I was poor and broke, when I would walk into a store, we all relate to this, I didn't look at what I wanted, I looked at price tags, and I flipped them over. What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? I can get that one. What's it cost? When I looked at a menu, what's it cost? What's it cost? I'll get that. People who come from scarcity and are poor thinkers are constantly negotiating price. Wealthy people, there's a thin veil. They negotiate worth. There's a difference between cost and worth. Is what I'm doing worth it? Is what I'm doing worth it? Not what's it costing me. In fact, the price you will pay for not winning is infinitely greater the rest of your life than the price you will ever pay to win. But you're negotiating it too often. You're vacillating. It takes your energy. It strips your focus. For most people, their will to win is for sale. For most people, with enough failure, enough setbacks, enough adversity, you can buy them. They will relent. They will sell their dream. They'll sell their kids. They'll sell their future. This is the truth. You remember I said this to you because you're going to face this moment. There's going to be a point in time in your life where what you know is not enough. And if you're me, when I arrive at those points, I got to find something higher than me to pull me through. That's me. How many of you would consider I shouldn't ask you that. If you consider yourself a person of faith, you relate to what I'm talking about. You will eventually in your life arrive at a point where all your preparation, all your knowledge will not be enough, and you're going to have to rely on your faith and the decision you've made where you've negotiated the price in advance before it hits. Because for most people, enough of that, they'll relent. Yeah, it just wasn't for me. Yeah, it's just, the industry, the market changed, interest rates went up. We went into that market where just everybody was getting their butt handed to them. I learned all this stuff, just the timing was right. Or, you don't know about where I live. Where we live, this stuff doesn't work.
I remember when I was stuck in anger for a long time. When I made a commitment to my adopted mother that I was going to purchase her a home. I'll never forget the experience of working real hard to get the money for the down payment. Someone had told me of a beautiful home in an exclusive area of Miami. Went to see it, took my mother there, and she said, yes, I want it. It was on the water. We went to the closing. My attorney said, Les, have you had a title search? I said, what's a title search? Well, we just take a couple of days to check it out and make sure there are no liens against the property that you might have to pay if you buy this home. The guy who was there selling me the house, he said, listen, he said, the only reason that I'm selling you this house and selling it at a loss is because I admire the fact that you want to purchase this house for your mother. I have another guy who will give me substantially more money, but I like you. And I've got to get back to Philadelphia. Now, if we cannot consummate this deal now, then the deal is off. I said, there are no liens against the property? He says, no, of course not. I looked at my attorney. I said, I believe him. I'll sign. She said, Mr. Brown, I'm not questioning his honesty. She said, but business is business. I signed that contract. And we had a big celebration. Everybody in the neighborhood was talking about Leslie coming home, one of the twins that Mamie adopted, to buy her a home. Child, isn't that nice? God is going to bless him. A few weeks later, I received a letter, a registered letter, indicating that the house was going up for sheriff's sale on the courthouse steps. A man had filed a $12,000 lien against the property because the previous owner owed him that money. And if I did not come up with $12,000 in 30 days, he was going to sell the house to the highest bidder. I called this man and said, "Mister, my name is Les Brown. I purchased this house. I had nothing to do with your prior bill. He said, "That's not my problem." He said, "You should have had a title search." I said, "Can you give me time?" I said, "My mother is an older lady. She has a bad heart." And I said, "Please," I said, "if you just give me the time, I don't know how I'm going to do it with the house note and everything else, but I think I can pay you at least $2,000 a month, and within 6 months, somehow I will pay you your money." He said, "No, I want it all in 30 days or you get out." I did everything I could, racked my mind thinking about how I could get $12,000 because I took everything I could to get the money just for the down payment and the closing. I finally had to face the reality that I wasn't going to be able to do it. I was up around 2 o'clock in the morning walking back and forth thinking, how was I going to tell my mother this? My children were there in the room sleeping all night long. I agonized over this. I lost over 23 pounds. Pretty soon I went in the room where my mother was sleeping and I said, "Mama," I got down on my knees by the bed. I said, "Mama, I got to talk to you." And she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Mama," I said, "we got to get out the house." I said, "In my haste to buy the house, I made a mistake." She said, "That's all right, baby. I didn't like this house anyhow." I said, "Mama, you told me you loved it. I brought our friends out here to see it." She said, "You know I have arthritis in my knees, and I don't like going up the steps, but I knew it made you happy. You loved it so much." I said, "Mom, I've lost 23 pounds agonizing over this." Well, we had to pack up and go back to the old house down the street from Northwestern High School in Liberty City. All those neighbors who came out and saw us leave, those neighbors were there as we were coming back. We went in the house, the roaches were playing cards saying, "Come on in and take a hand." I was wiped out. I was embarrassed and humiliated. Words cannot encompass the symbolism of what I felt. I remember when I was unloading the furniture and I began to cry. My sister came by. "You know you didn't have any money to buy no house, Mr. Big Time. Hadn't given me a quarter. You know mama got a bad heart now, y'all. Back where you belong." As I was crying and my head down, taking furniture in, my mama said, "Hold your head up." I said, "Mama," I said, "I just feel so bad about this, Mama." She said, "Hold your head up and dry your tears. You have nothing to be ashamed of." And I did.
If you have nothing, I live in Fiji a portion of the time. I have a home there and a resort there and kind of 2 families of villages there that I interact with the last 25 years. And when you go to Fiji and you walk down the street or you drive by, people jump up and they yell, "Bula, bula, bula," which means welcome, be happy, we love you. And you drive by 5 minutes later and they jump up, "Bula, bula, bula." And you're going like, what drugs are they taking? No one's paying them. But they're so happy. They're in such a different state. They've learned to focus on something else and come up with a different meaning for life. But if the meaning is it's the end, if the meaning is that you're dissing me, if the meaning is you don't care, whatever meaning we come up with, that affects the third decision, which is what am I going to do? And what people do is based on the meaning, since the meaning creates emotion, right? You can be miserable no matter what you have, and you can be euphoric having nothing. We all know it's true. In fact, is it possible to learn to let, for example, all hell could be breaking loose around you, and you could just be sitting in a chair in this centered space, all hell breaking loose, and you could still feel great? Is that possible? Yes or no? Yes or no? Sure, but you and I live in a Western culture. Well, if you sit and bliss out, people come and take your furniture.
And Elijah's in the cave. But let me tell you something that's amazing. After preaching about Elijah for gosh, how long I've been preaching? Almost 35 years. I realized something. Nobody saw him under the juniper tree. And nobody saw him in the cave. The last time he was in public was on Mount Carmel. And on Mount Carmel, he was Superman. So everybody thinks he's Superman. Only God knows that he's Clark Kent. Isn't it funny how everybody can think you're better than you are, stronger than you are? Oh, you know, when you're good at what you do, people use you, almost abuse you, which is really a compliment because they can count on you. They don't think that you're human. Oh, Mary's just always nice. Oh, Frida's just always good at her job. Oh, Pastor so-and-so just always, he's just amazing. He's amazing. Our pastor just amazing. He's amazing. I just went to First Central and oh, it's just amazing. It's amazing. Well, they see you on Mount Carmel. Nobody knows about your juniper trees and your caves. Nobody sees your secret places of frustration but God. And he's up under the juniper tree. And I think, you know, sometimes I think you ought to take a moment and just thank God that he gives you privacy with your pain. A luxury you will not have if you continue to succeed, I might add. Because the benchmark of when you really go mainstream, the hardest thing to have is privacy with your pain. pay. So while you're fighting to be discovered and fighting to be exposed, be careful, because once that light hits you, it don't just show your Carmel, your Mount Carmel. It shines right up under your juniper tree and right into your cave and into your kids' caves. Be careful what you ask for, you might get it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe not to miss the next videos.